Greetings everybody, Forrest Nace here with American Steam Railroad bringing to you our August 2024 update. Our great and generous volunteers have now surpassed over $1 million in volunteered labor. In fact, the exact number, $1,009,850. The generosity of our donors, many of you, has allowed that to happen, because what I would like to do now is show your contributions and how vital it is and how much of a team you are with us here at the Roundhouse with the money you have given, as I do a complete detailed breakdown of the $586,399.71 your generosity has allowed us to spend in the care and restoration of the 2100. First off, we needed to have professional services to unload, disassemble, and do a scope of the project on the restoration, and that equated to $20,303. We also had some crane services that needed to be covered for $39,000, so by the time we were really ready to dig into the restoration, we had already spent $59,303. One of the biggest costs usually of a steam locomotive restoration is in the firebox itself. For the $110,970.08, let's take a look at how that all broke down. We needed, of course, to put in new side sheets and also some patches on the wrapper and a patch on the thermic siphon, and all that material came to $4,085. We also had to replace the arch tubes because the perfectly good ones unfortunately had to be removed to get the side sheets out, $2,376.76. The professional services from our contractors to actually remove the side sheets, form them, fabricate them, lay out for the drilling, installing, and all the welding was $50,268.99. We also, of course, for those new side sheets had to buy new rivets, which were $1,680. And the labor professional services to remove the old rivets and install the new ones was $9,530.64. New caps for $8,032.49. New sleeves for $7,015.87. We needed the gaskets to go in between the cap and the sleeve, $559.15. The stay bolt materials, we made many of our own stay bolts. The material itself was $1,561.64. For the flexible ones, the heads had to be forged and machining done on them. That was $9,330.20. And we did have to purchase some threaded stay bolts already pre-made, and that was $1,052.34. We had to put a new weigh sheet in at the back to support the rear of the firebox, and the metal plus the bolts, nuts, and washers is $1,293.11. And then the labor to do the forming, cutting of it, to shape it, as well as the welding was $2,459.37. We also did purchase new firebox doors for $2,000, which are available and for sale if somebody does need them for their coal-burning locomotive. For the new oil fire pan, the metal to make that was $1,913.77, and the welding is $4,853.25 so far, as there is some additional welding to do. Engineering services to design this whole oil firing system so far have been $2,957.50. Moving on to the boiler courses, we had a total there of $71,273.65, and the breakdown of that was for the 291 new 2-inch tubes, $34,988. Our new steam dome lid, $895. That beautiful new whistle, $2,700. And the professional labor services to remove the old tubes and for the installation, rolling, welding services done, $26,694.33. The boiler heat primer and paint so far has been $4,058.32, and some nuts, bolts, fasteners, and fittings that needed to be replaced, $1,938. Now then, we also needed some additional professional services done for documentation as well as testing purposes. Those totaled out to be $6,935.48. Some of the metal did need to be sent out to ensure that it was the proper tensile strength for the 240 psi pressure we'll be carrying, and some of the full penetrating welds did require an x-ray where a stay bolt was not supporting them. That total came out to $2,808 for those services. And then also for the 1,472 Form 4 calculations and paperwork was $4,127.48. On the running gear, those are going to be the projects that we begin throughout the winter and in the springtime. But we have spent $18,730.34 so far. The expense of the new mechanical lubricator we're going to use for the main driver bearing surfaces, and that was $7,890.40. We did have some new pins and bushings made with regard to the suspension components of $1,356.24. We did have that generous donation that came in to repurchase the 2100's original booster for $5,000. And then we did have our professional contractor come in and do a complete inspection of the rods and bearings, and also taking the measurements to make sure everything was still in proper tolerances. And that was $4,483.70. Now, we've also been doing some work on the tender, as you've seen in our videos, and we spent $2,844.65 there. What that has constituted so far is doing a lot of the painting of the oil bunker and the oil tank, and that was $2,644.65 so far, as well as purchasing the wood between the oil bunker and the oil tank itself, and thankfully we had a very generous price given to us of just $200. One other item that we haven't talked about yet, and it may be a big surprise of how much is spent in this area, but that is for the tooling, the supplies we need like wire wheels, drill bits, propane, acetylene, and oxygen for our torches, as well as the personal protective gear that we use, such as the N95 masks, protective safety glasses, ear protection, and such. And that total amazingly came to $73,950.72. So far our total cash investment in the locomotive and tender directly itself has been $344,007.92. Now then, we do have other expenses that support the 2100, and those came out to a total of $242,391.79. The rent we have paid over all these years has totaled $138,068. Storage, such as storage container and track space that we have for the tenders and our tool car, has come to $13,897. Insurance, $57,464.04, and our administrative costs, things such as the website, the accounting services that we have, and other administrative items, just $32,962.75. And that is a number we're very proud of, because it shows that only 5.6% of the money you give us is used for those administrative overhead items, meaning that 94.4% of every dollar you give us goes right into the support and restoration of the 2100. With the volunteered labor I mentioned earlier, so far to date, our investment is $1,596,249.71. We please ask you to keep those donations coming, and for those that would like to join and come work on the locomotive, we do welcome you and hope we do see you. Well, everybody, one of the big projects, of course, we've been working on here with the tender is supplying this wood here that'll act as a buffer between the actual oil bunker itself and the bunker area where it's going to be inserted. Now, some people have asked, why are you using wood as opposed to maybe a more modern type of product? Well, there's two reasons behind this. Number one, wood is tried and proven and in the railroad industry accepted as a standard. The other item we have to concern ourselves with is not only the rubbing of two metals together, but also the crush strength of what is providing that cushion. Two in particular that are very good at this are white oak, which has a crush resistance of 7,440 pounds per square inch, and cherry, 7,110 pounds per square inch. So we'll be treating these, and that wood should last us for a good 15, maybe even upwards of 20 years, and provide then the cushion between the oil tank itself and the oil bunker that it's being placed into. Now, one of the other projects we did is we did do a test fit of the oil bunker to do any little bit of the trimming of the wood that we needed, as well as allowing our professional contractors to come in and take the measurements of how high up the outlet on the oil bunker is going to be as compared to where the new oil burner is going to be in the firebox, to ensure we get the proper flow of oil from the bunker to the burner itself. So everybody, that's what we've been able to accomplish here. Please keep those donations coming so our volunteers can continue with their great work. We want to, of course, thank those wonderful volunteers that keep coming every week, our generous donors, our good friends here at the Midwest Railway Preservation Society, and our professional contractors. Thank you.